This is the topic that I've spoken about a lot these past few weeks. On my Instagram, on my TikTok, on my Lemonade, on everything. And there's a reason for that. But I'm just gonna shorten it down. Or at least I'll attempt to. And basically get to the premise of what I'm attempting to communicate here, which is many brands, companies, etc. take complete advantage of influencers, which that's not news, like we know this is common knowledge, and it's also not shocking or surprising because it happens in every job, every theme of career you can assume, right? So it's not shocking. And as someone who does this pretty much full-time, well, I do social media full-time, but influencing is part of that, and I have had my fair share of bullshit from brands, companies, etc. But I also, as someone who is freelancing within social media, I've seen the other side of it, like the corporate side of it, and seen their side of the bullshit. And I've also seen other sides to it, which not really social media, but like modeling, and then which we all know is like bound to be treating the models like shit, right? So it's not a shock, but then seeing the way that these companies portray themselves and then knowing the truth. Like the other day, one of my favorite, this is gonna give it away, but I literally couldn't care less. One of my favorite Greek or Turkish, I think she's Turkish, I'm not sure, designers. She's like a really big designer, like everyone knows her. Did like a party where she like dressed everyone. And one of the people there was the owner of the brand that treated me like shit when I was starting out as a model earlier this year. To this day is still the worst experience I had as a model, by the way. And this woman, how do I put this without giving it away? I'm trying to think. She is often represented as like a girl boss because she started this company and like she knows everyone and like she's in like the circles of like fucking, she like knew Vivienne Westwood when she was alive. But when I met this woman in real life, she literally touched my hair because I was doing hair modeling. She touched my hair, didn't look me in the eyes, didn't acknowledge me, and then left. And that's not the worst of that situation. I'm going to go into all situations, but I wrote some notes because I don't want to stray like I usually do. So I'm going to say all the situations that I have been through, and just attempt to make it as possible. Not quiet. I like telling people to fuck themselves, but just I'm not trying to like cancel anyone. So during the actual process of that modeling job, the employees were lovely to me, but after they told me to contact them about something, so I did that. And after I did it, they were contacting me a lot about other things as well. They were really nice, sending me kisses at the end of their texts and everything. And then as soon as I text them about something they told me to reach out to them about, they were like, stop harassing our workers, we don't do this, blah 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 blah. And I was like, you are the ones that told me to reach out to you about this and harassing you. I'm following up on a question. Anyways, literally, when I went there, there was one girl who worked there that she was really sweet, and then we follow each other now. She just left. Now, I don't know anything about that. I don't know if it was a decision or whatever, but all I'm saying is well done, because the amount of dickheads in that fucking place. I immediately confronted them and I was like, don't ever say that I'm doing shit I'm not doing. Your employees told me to do this, and you can ask them for your fucking selves. If you ever talk to me like that again, watch your fucking mouth. And they apologized and I ignored them, because the thing is I'm someone who will just, I'll stand up for myself. I spent too little of my life not doing that. I'ma fucking do it. So I think like these people are very used to just kind of like, with models, influencers, or just in general people that they see as below them, it's like, who are you? Fuck you. I can treat you however the fuck I want. And then they're very shocked when I turn around and I'm like, excuse me? Because most people don't do that, and that's fine, but I'm going to. And then if we go into the influencer side of things, there's a level of dickheadery and then there's a level of like unprofessionalism, and I'll start with unprofessionalism because that's not that bad in the sense of they're not actively treating me like a dick. But there was a brand that I worked with. I didn't have a collaboration with them, I was just creating content for them so they can use it whenever. I don't know if they've even used it. It was a paid collaboration, so like nothing for free, and they basically were like, can you make like a video like this? And it was literally like another competitor's thing, and I was like, yeah, sure. So I made something similar, and they were like, no, we want it to be the exact same. So I was like, okay, did that, and then they were like, no, but we want this, and I was like, okay, did that. They were like, no, but we want this. They never sent me an in-depth brief about anything, any details, you know, like all these details they wanted, they came after I had created the content, after I spent my time filming, editing, etc. And it literally took them 8 times to contact me to get what they wanted. And so it was just like, initially the way these things work is you send a brief, and an in-depth brief, keep this in mind for a later story by the way, an in-depth brief, and then you create the exact brief. They just sent me a video and were like, do this. I was like, okay. So yeah, that's just like, I just took my check and left. So then on the other side of that is the dickheadery, and there's a big chocolate brand, and I don't care about outing these motherfuckers, to be fair, because the way I was treated was horrendous. But bear in mind, like all these paid partnerships that I'm talking about were pennies. I'm talking under £100. Most of my paid partnerships are hundreds of pounds per post. So these are pennies, but I accept them because I like the mission, I like their products. I'm very authentic in who I partner with. So this is a well-known-ish chocolate brand. And I was like, yeah, chocolate, I love your vegan mission. So I was like, I'll do it. Still paid, I'll do it. So they gave me a due date, a deadline for the content. The day before that deadline, I get a text from them saying, if you don't get it to us by the end of today, so a day before the deadline, we will stop the partnership. And I was like, you told me it's due tomorrow, so you will get it tomorrow. Again, I'm not gonna stand for shit. The next morning, first thing, as soon as I woke up, I sent them the content. And it was the raw footage. So usually you send raw footage, so it's edited, as in the shots edited, but there's no text, no sound, no music, etc. This is because usually brands will get back to you saying, okay, we want this, we want a voiceover, we want this kind of music, we want this text, like we approve of the shots, now add this. So I sent the raw footage, unedited, to them, and they were like, and I said, no, and I said, thanks so much for being patient, even though it was on the due date that I sent it. Can you please let me know like what music you want, or if you want a voiceover, or what text you want on it. And instead of sending that to me so I can give them the end product, they said to me it was low quality, and they didn't mean how it looked, because it's not low quality. It was filmed on my iPhone 13, so get fucked. They were basically dissing me and my work. And then it had nothing to do with the brand and didn't follow the brief. Bear in mind, the brief they sent me was one sentence: vegan recipe. And I made a vegan recipe, including their fucking chocolate, and the first thing you see is their chocolate. I don't just mean the actual chocolate, I mean the outside, the packaging, the branding, the name of the brand. And so I got back to them with a really long mouthful of words where I basically said, never talk to me like that again. Do not, like, you are very unaware of like how this works if you think that you give me a due date and then it's due before that, and then if you think that one sentence of a brief is an in-depth brief. It's just, these things should be common sense, no? No? And every time I see them in coffee shops and stuff, because they're in a couple, I get really bitter about it. I'm like, go die, get fucked. So yeah, I literally sent them like about 4 paragraphs full, just saying, you are unprofessional, horrible treatment, you have no idea how this works, etc. And on the brief as well, it was pages long, but why was it pages long if it was one sentence? Because they had pages dedicated to the tone of their brand, which could just be simplified down to fun, energetic, like a few words, but they went in depth, and I appreciate that. That's fine. Just do the same for the fucking brief. Anyways, I fucking hate them. Get fucked. Lastly, when it comes to employment within the social media realm, I had interviews with a big I say that because I just don't think it's that big at all, especially having seen the BTS, the behind the scenes. They're like a mushroom coffee brand, and most people would have heard of it if they're like in that niche, because it's had really big advertising, but that's about it. And the owner was fine at first, and the guy who was interviewing me, I love this story so much, was such a misogynistic freak that I physically couldn't stand to talk to this man for more than 2 minutes. Like, whenever we had interviews or calls, I was like, I need to go. I was just like, I can't do this. It's like, I know I'm meant to be being professional, but I can't. Because he would downplay everything I said, question everything I said, even though he's not doing the job that they were going to hire me for. They don't have someone working on that. I'm someone who has years experience in this field. And he was questioning me, and I was like, you hate women. You just hate women, don't you? And he like misconstrued something I said, and that was like why I didn't get the job apparently. And I was like, yeah, that's why, because not because I stood up for myself every time you tried to downplay me as a female. That's why. Anyways, I found out that he left and I don't know if he quit or got fired, but I really wouldn't be shocked or surprised if he got fired, because I don't think the owner and him, I think it's only those two working on it at the time, even liked each other. They never like spoke to one another. Whereas like when I've had interviews for other places with several employees, you know, they've always, like, the employees know each other, they're always speaking, they're always talking, they're always like involved in conversation together. These two are very separate. And I also did a deep dive, and the owner didn't, when he was working there, didn't follow him. There was no, like, literally no sense of like any mutual connection at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got fired. And also he's just a fucking dickhead. And I'm gonna out him right now, but he had a mustache like this, literally like this. I need you to be so fucking damn for real. For once in your life, you ugly ass dog looking bitch. So I think, like, my point is brands, companies will take advantage of you regardless of what fucking field you're in. But I don't ever see anyone talk about the social media aspect of it. So working in social media or being an influencer and brands taking like advantage of you, or brands in general taking advantage of you and then portraying themselves as absolute angels open to everything and anything. And it's like, when you know the truth about these brands and then they portray themselves in a way, it's very enraging, because it's like, you are literally dickheads and I hope you die. You are literally dickheads and I hate you. But I think also my point to share this is like, I don't care what field you're in. I don't care if I lose my income. I couldn't care less. And I don't say that because I'm rich, because I'm not. If I had money, I'd probably still feel this way, sure. But I grew up poor. I'm not poor anymore, but I grew up poor and I'm not rich now. My dignity, my self-worth, my mental health, the way I'm treated is more important than a job. And I know that that's a privileged thing to be able to say that. I completely understand that. But even when I was poor, which wasn't, you know, long ago, growing up always had that mindset. I was like, I'll never work for someone if I'm not happy. I'll never do it. And I think that's because we could go into a lot here. There's a lot of family trauma there about seeing parents and stuff in jobs they hated for their entire lives and having money problems and being poor. And there's a lot of, you know, self-trauma behind that. But as I said, I was determined to have that as a kid and growing up, and then as an adult it manifested into what it is. And so I'm lucky, and I don't make, you know, a shocking amount of money whatsoever, and I love what I do. But the reason that I've worked with brands that I've worked with and I get the jobs that I get is because I'm very loud and proud about it, and the people who hire me or work with me like that about me. So I think there's like a myth, a tale, like, oh, if you're a certain way, brands won't work with you, or like people won't hire you. It's like, no, me showing that I will confront a bitch has actually gotten me loads of jobs and loads of brand partnerships and whatever. On my second biggest partnership, someone left hate comments under their post and I literally went at them. Not even in a professional way. I was just like, get fucked. And they emailed me saying, thank you, lol, we love you. It's like, I love you too, bitch. There are people who are going to accept you for who you are and what you do and how you are and how you go about those things. And that's a really refreshing thing, because I never knew that growing up. And shit people were gonna exist everywhere, but I don't let that in my circle, in my energy. You're not in my energy, get fucked. As Ray once said, don't threaten me or talk to me ever like that. I got brothers in the ends that will pull up right now. You don't even want to see the way I pull up right now in my little black dress with my neck bust down. How I flip a switch and a brick, then I So if a brand is watching this, treat your people, whether it's influencers or actual employees or whatever, treat them right. Because I swear to God, people are gonna start paying me to come and confront you bitches for them. Because the stories that I've heard, I swear to God, I'll hurt a bitch. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. In fact, comment down below. Which employee fucks you over the most? Who's hurt you in the work environment, placement? Just tell me and I'll go over there and I'll sort it out. Scrap them up for you. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.